Okay, so in order to start with folding our crane, you gotta get your piece of paper. So I'm going to pull it to the portrait way, and just like we did with the bookmarks, we are going to grab a corner and we're going to pull it so that the bottom edge of my paper is going to line up with these sides. So I'm pulling it up and I'm lining up the bottom edge of my piece of paper with the side of my paper. So I want to try to get this as exact as I can, because in order to create this origami crane, it needs to be a square piece of paper. So if you don't have any square paper lying around, you have to make square paper. So right now, I have folded it in half so I can see a big triangle, and I have this rectangle piece on top. That needs to go away. So you can either fold it a bunch of times, like this. So I'm flipping it over, I'm folding it so it lines up with the side of my triangle. And I fold it back the opposite direction. And I do this a few times till I have a good crease, and then I can tear it off. But if you have scissors at home, this is a lot easier. So I'm going to cut it off instead of tearing it, because sometimes I get a little too aggressive when I'm tearing and I rip the whole paper. Okay, so I've cut off that rectangle, and when I open this up, I should have a square piece of paper. So now I've already folded it one time to make that triangle. So I have a diagonal line going through my square. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my lower left corner and I'm going to fold it up so that the point matches up with my upper right corner. So I'm making another triangle fold. So when I open this back up, I should see two diagonal lines making an X on my square. The next thing I need to do is fold my square in half. So I'm taking the bottom edge and folding it up. Take your time to really match up those corners to the best of your ability, and fold. Now I'm going to unfold, and I have a horizontal line going through the middle of my square. Now let's take the left side, fold it over to the right side. So when I open this up again, I should see an X and now a plus sign. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my paper this way. I want it to look more like a diamond. I'll adjust this so you can see it more clearly. So I want it to look more like a diamond. So one of the things I'm going to do now is this line that's going across is kind of a valley fold, which means that it folds more easily this way. So I'm going to kind of pop my paper backwards and refold that line just so it's popping up. This is going to make things a little bit easier. So now it's something called a mountain fold, so it kind of comes up like a mountain. So push my little center down, and because I did that mountain fold, this will be a lot easier. I'm going to take these corners, and I want the folded edge that's here to line up with this edge in the center. So this one's going to come down, this corner is going to come down to the bottom corner. That folded edge is now folding in on itself like this, and I push this part back. Do the same thing on this side, so I'm taking that corner, it's coming down to the bottom, and this edge here gets folded back, and I press down. So now what I should have is a diamond shape. Now that's pretty tricky, so I'm going to show you one more time. My paper is open, it's in a diamond, the point is pointing towards my tummy. I'm going to take the right hand corner and I'm going to bring it down to the bottom corner down here. This line lines up with the center of this diamond shape. Like that. Push this one back. You might have to do some refolding. Like this, push this one back. Origami is symmetrical, which means we're doing the same thing multiple times on every side. So when I open this up, it kind of looks like this, right? I want to grab that first layer. It's not this layer, but the first folded layer. And I'm going to bring this point over, and this side is going to line up with the center. So it's going to kind of fold over. So I'm actually grabbing two layers, but this edge here is folded. I'm going to line up with this edge with the center fold, like that. Same thing has to happen on this side. So this corner is going to come over, this edge is going to line up with the center. And I'm only peeling up that first layer. You'll notice that there's still paper showing. That's the other side. So once you have something that looks like this, we've done it on both sides. Because this is origami and it has to be symmetrical, we are going to turn this over and we're going to take the remaining piece or layer and fold it towards the center again. So we're going to be doing this fold 4 times. Okay, so now I have like this kind of kite shape. And I'm going to take this top and I'm going to fold it so that this edge kind of folds over the top like this. Unfold. Flip it over. Do the same thing. This just helps with a couple of steps a little later on. So now what we're going to do is probably the most challenging fold of the crane. It's called the petal fold. So I'm opening up this. I'm taking it, I'm opening it up. And I'm peeling up the top layer, and I'm pulling that back as far as I can get it to go. So I'm going to turn it this way, as far as I can get it to go. So now what I'm going to do is it kind of looks like this. I want these sides to fold in and line up with this line in the middle. So you kind of have to use your fingers to kind of pop those sides out. This is probably the hardest fold. It's a little bit challenging, a little bit frustrating. Pop this part out so that it folds in nicely. So it's going to look like this. That is called the petal fold. I'm going to do it again because we have to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. So you open these pieces up, you peel up that top layer, and it's going to go back as far as it can, kind of where this line is. And then you have to use your fingers to pop these edges out, because the creases are going to want to go the other way. And you're going to move these edge pieces in towards the center. There you go. That is the petal fold. So now what you have is a large diamond shape, and then this part is all kind of one piece, but this part kind of has 2 little skinny dancing legs. So we want to be folding on the parts that can move. So the next folds will happen on the skinny little legs. So I'm going to put this down. My skinny legs are at the bottom. I'm going to peel up that first layer on the side, and this edge is going to line up with the center. So that's going to fold inwards. It's like we're making those skinny little legs even skinnier. And we'll pull them in, press down. And I do the same thing on the other side. This edge comes in towards the center to make a skinnier leg like that. Flip it over and we do the same thing on the back side. This edge comes in on the skinny legs. Do not do it up here because that will cause problems because it will not work. And just to show you again, he can still dance. Now we're going to take this piece of paper and we're going to be opening it up. So I'm actually going to turn it to its side. So I'm looking at it from the side view. And there are this crease right down the middle here. I'm going to open that part up. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to open that piece up and I'm going to make sure I can tuck those pieces in. They are folded inside. And now I have this little shape that looks like this. I kind of think it looks like a dingo or a dog head. So now I'm going to take the top layer of that skinny little point and I'm going to fold it upwards as far as it will go. I cannot pull it anymore, so I'm going to pull it till I cannot pull it anymore. Fold up, and you guessed it, we have to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to fold it up. We're almost done. So I'm going to pick up this piece again. This is what it looks like right now on both sides. I'm going to turn it to the skinny side, and I'm going to open it up again. So I'm going to open this piece up. Turn it over, open that piece up. These are the last couple steps now. I'm going to take this piece that's on the top, and I'm going to fold that down until I can't fold it anymore. It's going to go as far as it can go without ripping it. And fold it down. Flip it over. Take that piece, bring it down as far as you can go, and fold it down and crease it so it looks like this. You guys, we're almost done. Right now we just folded the wings, and this is the head and the tail. So you can pick either side, and you're going to take one of the sides and bend it down to make the swan's head. And then you can kind of gently pull the wings out to create the swan body. And you can even add some folds on the ends of the wings if you want to, just to kind of finish it. And that is how you make a swan. But there's one more trick just to give it a little bit more body. Check it out. Okay, and the final trick to completing your swan is that at the bottom there's a tiny little hole in it. So what you're going to do is we're going to blow some air into that hole to puff out his body a little bit. So I grab onto each of his wings like this, and I put my mouth on the hole and I go. And look, it made his body a little bit more thick. Of course you don't have to do that, but it is kind of fun to blow some air into this little swan. So there you go, that was your Fun Friday challenge. It is a little bit challenging, but give it a try and see how you do. Have a great weekend. Goodbye, my most amazing artists.